Good evening and welcome to the second annual Healthy Living event, Healthy Living in 2022. My name is Amber Smithson and I am the Director of Business Development at Bakersfield Behavioral Healthcare Hospital. We are thrilled to welcome you to tonight's event of tips and tricks to get and stay healthy. We would like to take a moment to thank everyone who partnered with us this year to ensure that we can provide great information and some fun for the entire family. Tonight, we are joined by one of our local Bakersfield College instructors who will help us learn how to make a quick, healthy, and delicious meal that everyone will enjoy. We will visit M.A.R.E Riding Center, a therapeutic horseback riding farm located here in Bakersfield. We will learn about ways to stay safe this summer from some amazing members of our Bakersfield Police and Fire departments. We will learn ways to get healthy while at work, how to get our heart pumping with exercises led by Condi, as well as how to relax with some meditation with yoga from Wisdom Yoga. We will join a panel of local doctors from various specialties as we discuss what health looks like from their point of view. We will hear a wonderful message from our own Mayor Karen Go, and so much more. As you join us this evening to take part in this amazing event, I hope that you are able to take away a little something that will bring about a healthy change to your life. Whether you're interested in learning more about your mental, dietary, or safety health, or if you want to get some great ideas on how to have some fun with your family, we know that this evening's show is perfect for you. Whatever it is that you take away from this evening's event, make sure to take away health and take away care.
Good evening. My name is Amy Murphy and I am the new CEO of Bakersfield Behavioral Healthcare Hospital. As the only privately owned psychiatric and medical detox facility in the Kern County area, we understand our responsibility and privilege in providing resources, education, and care to those we serve. As the pandemic continues on, we as a community are forced to learn how to ebb and flow with its ever-changing demands on each of us. We are constantly faced with decisions surrounding our health and the health of our family, and therefore we are proud to offer this evening's event. Tonight's lineup of local agencies will offer a wide range of helpful tips, fun activities, and healthy living ideas for the entire family. We understand that to promote a healthy lifestyle, we must address the whole person, and we hope that this evening's program demonstrates our commitment to the community we serve and that, most importantly, we care.
Did you know 1 in 5 women and 1 in 7 men have reported experiencing violence at the hands of an intimate partner? And many more will never speak up or seek help. The CDC estimates over 81 million people suffer from intimate partner aggression. If you or anyone you know is experiencing domestic violence, sexual assault, or human trafficking, encourage them to seek help. Everyone has the right to enjoy a life free from abuse. At Alliance Against Family Violence and Sexual Assault, we are experts at providing crucial services to survivors of abuse. Our services include legal assistance with restraining orders and custody, housing and shelter, food and clothing, as well as counseling, all for free. Our staff is trained in handling your most important issues with kindness, compassion, and patience, thanks to our trauma-informed approach. Services are also available via our 24-hour hotline. Thanks to contributions from our amazing community, we are here to help. You can donate online at kernalliance.org.
We are joined this evening with Chris Lowe, who is the president of the Bakersfield City School District Education Foundation. Chris, thank you so much for being a part of this evening.
You're welcome. I'm happy to be here.
Well, let me just start off by asking, what exactly is a Bakersfield City School District Education Foundation, and in particular, how does it help our community and our children?
Okay. The foundation raises money to fund teacher grants for different projects that aren't usually covered by regular school district funding. Teachers apply for the grants. There's quite a few different ones, but they can be for critical thinking or reading or science, things like that. And how that helps the community is it's an investment in the future, our future leaders, our future business owners, everything like that. So it gives them extra educational opportunities by funding these extra projects that aren't normally covered.
That's wonderful. So can you tell us a little bit about some of the things that the grants have funded, specifically centered around health?
Okay, so we did this one grant. It was for a drone, and basically it was to get kids outside and to use the drone to measure their school from up above. So they had to be outside, walking around and using that, and it also helped them with math because they had to scale what the picture was of the school. And it got them outside, got them some air, something, got them out of the classroom so they're just not sitting there. And we've also funded some things that are more about nutrition, on how to meal plan, planning a garden, things like that. So there's quite a few different things we can do.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So if the community wanted to get involved, how would they do that?
Well, there's many ways. They can donate to us, just generally donating to us. We are on the bcsd.com webpage. They can come to any of our events that we put on for fundraisers. We do a teddy bear picnic. So there's ways that they can support us in this endeavor. And
if somebody wanted to be a part of the board, how would they do that?
So that's a good question, because we are actually looking for board members right now. We have a few openings. And if somebody's interested, the greatest thing is to have a love of children and of education. And if they're interested, they can email us at bcsdef@bcsd.com. And all they need to send us is like a resume and a letter of why they're interested in being on the board, and we'd be happy to talk to them about that.
Chris, thank you so much for being a part of this evening.
Oh, you're welcome.
Now let's check in with Condi for some exercises we can do at home.
Hello, my name is Condi. We are gonna go and work out at home with some equipment that you can find right there in your kitchen or living room. So we're gonna start with the gliders. If you don't have a glider, you can use paper plates on the floor. Legs, core exercises. So we go out and in. This is working the outside and inside of your leg. Outside glutes, inner thighs. You repeat that in both legs 4 times for 30 seconds or more. So let me show you another exercise we can do for your core. Hey, we have a bender ball. You can put it behind your back. We have rise if you don't have the weight, okay? And we can do biceps, obliques. Core is working the deck rectus abdominals, chest in alignment, neck up, head straight. And if you don't have the ball, it's okay. You have a paper towel, put it behind it. You don't need no weights. You can lift your chest and raise in here. Great exercises to get you toned and healthy. Wow, so hope you have fun. Do these exercises for the next 20 seconds or 30 seconds. Take a break and repeat again. Hey, I hope you learned something with me today. There's no excuses to stay inactive. You can do it anywhere, any place. And for more tips on core strength, you can follow me on my Instagram page. Let's get strong, no matter where you are.
Every child develops at their own pace, but how do you know they're on the right track? Help Me Grow Kern County offers free developmental screenings done by parents in less than 20 minutes. 85% of your child's brain will develop by the age of 3. The sooner any concerns are identified, the better their chances are as they approach school age. Visit helpmegrowkern.org or call 211 to find out more. Your child's early development is a journey. Enjoy every step of the way with Help Me Grow Kern County.
Next, we're going to get some safety tips from the Bakersfield Fire Department.
Summer is almost here, and with summer comes barbecues and camping. Keeping in mind that our safety is as important to our overall health as eating well and exercising, tonight, Captain Michael Taylor from the Bakersfield Fire Department is here to give us some pointers on how we can be safe when cooking outdoors. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you for having me.
So for those of us looking forward to barbecuing and camping this summer, I know I am, I love doing it. What are some helpful tips to make sure that we're all doing it safely?
Well, first of all, we want to check the location in which these activities are going to occur at. We want to make sure it's on a flat surface, and if we are going to be barbecuing, it's not going to be in a covered area with a flammable canopy or an area where there's a lot of traffic with children or other adults.
Okay, and what can we do as far as the maintenance is concerned to make sure that everything is safe?
So the maintenance on your barbecue equipment or any cooking appliances, we recommend that you check them, make sure they're not dirty, they don't have any old food within them, or they don't have any grease that's built up, because that's a large fire hazard. And if you're using a gas-powered propane barbecue, we want to make sure that it's not leaking through the hoses, so that way it has a safe operation and it reduces fires in areas that we don't want those fires in the barbecue.
So when it comes to propane tanks, where's the best way to store those?
Well, usually we can store those. A lot of the barbecues have like some sort of area underneath the actual cooking surface that you can store those. And otherwise you can put them in a shaded location at a distance away from a structure, just in case something does happen.
So when it comes to excessive grease or extra grease, leftover grease, what should we be doing with that? What's the safest way to handle that?
Well, first off, we want to make sure that the grease is cooled, and if it's extremely hot, we want to put it in a temperature-safe container, and we want to store it away from the cooking area, and then we want to make sure that it's cooled adequately before we dispose of it. And additionally, sometimes flare-ups can happen on the barbecue, and if the flare-up does occur on the barbecue, we can go ahead and close that lid and turn the gas off to let that flare-up die down. We do not want to apply water to it because it could make the situation worse.
Wonderful. So now what about campfires? I love campfires. I love having a fire pit in the backyard. I love going camping and building a fire pit. What are some steps that we can take to make sure that we're safe and that the area around us is safe?
So some of the things with the fires, especially within city limits, first and foremost, is that burning is illegal within city limits. So we'll remind everyone of that. And second of all, if you're using a fire pit or something to cook with, you want to make sure that after you're done cooking that the coals are going to be nice and cold. You want to let them sit there for a few days, possibly if you can, and dispose of them in a metal container, and don't put them directly into your plastic garbage can right after using them, because they will start a fire and they can retain that heat for a couple of days. Secondly, we want to make sure that we have the proper fluids that we're going to use to help start that fire to get to cooking on it. We don't want to use anything like gasoline because it's toxic when we start to cook over it. So those are just some of the few tips and pointers that we want to express to the public.
So overall, as we are looking forward to having a healthy summertime, if you had just one piece of advice to give our community as a whole, what would that be?
Well, first and foremost, get outside, get active, start doing some things outside, enjoy the weather that we have currently. And during the summertime, when you're barbecuing, make sure everything is in a proper location and a safe location away from everyone traveling around it. And also make sure that the maintenance is kept up, and make sure your cooking surfaces are clean and are properly functioning.
Thank you so much for being here with us this evening. It was a lot of really good and helpful information. We really appreciate everything that you do for our community and for us this evening.
It's our pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we're going to have some safety information shared from the Bakersfield Police Department.
Hey Bakersfield, spring has sprung and it's the perfect time to get outdoors and cash in on that free vitamin D. A great way to enjoy the outdoors is bike riding.
But before you settle up on that Schwinn, here are a few safety tips.
First and foremost, make sure your bike is in good working order. Follow the ABCs of bike safety: air in the tires, brakes functioning, and cranks, chain, and cassette oiled and operational.
Once you've ensured your bike is ready to ride, make sure your head is protected.
Wear a helmet.
We know the law says that you only have to wear a helmet until you turn 18, but accidents happen no matter your age.
Furthermore, we each only get one brain. A helmet isn't going to guarantee your survival in every situation, but it's going to greatly increase your odds of avoiding death or serious injury.
According to the CDC, bicycling leads to the highest number of sport and recreation-related emergency department visits for traumatic brain injuries in the United States.
When you're biking on the roadways, here are a few general rules of thumb. Obey traffic laws and behave as though you are a motorist on the roadway. Travel with the flow of traffic and stay to the right. Use a bicycle lane if available. Be seen. Lights and reflectors can increase the distance at which you're seen by up to 500 feet. Yield to motorists and pedestrians when appropriate. Be cautious around parked vehicles pulling out into traffic or opening doors. Never ride between cars, especially parked cars. Always assume drivers cannot see you and take extra precautions to avoid an accident. Do not ride with earbuds or headphones in both ears. Signal your movements and be as predictable as possible.
To all the drivers on the road, we can't stress this enough. Look out for cyclists and give them space. Unlike you, they don't have seatbelts and airbags to protect them in the event of collision. Avoid distractions when you're behind the wheel, and make sure that your trip doesn't end someone else's life.
If you need a bike helmet but are financially unable to purchase one, or if you have a community group who might like a free bike safety presentation, contact the BPD Community Relations Unit at 326-3053 or message us on Facebook at Bakersfield Police Department.
No matter how you choose to get active, we hope you'll have fun. Be safe out there, Bakersfield.
Now we're going to have some fun with KGET's Studio 17 Live.
One way that we can promote a healthy lifestyle is by making sure that we are taking time to have some good and healthy fun. When my children were small, I loved arcade night. Maybe you can set aside an evening each week to come together with family and friends for a little bit of fun and laughter. The games don't even have to be purchased from the store, but you can create them. In fact, maybe you can get the entire family involved by having each one take turns creating a new game that week. This evening, we are going to play a little game that I created just by pulling information off the internet. And I am so thrilled to have our friends at Studio 17 Live joining us. Thank you both so much for being a part of this.
We're excited to be here.
All right, so the rules are really simple. I'm going to ask a question, and it's going to be the first person that buzzes in with the most popular answer. All right?
Let's do this.
Okay. All right. Okay, so the very first question is, name something you might do when you wake up in the morning.
Brush your teeth.
Brush your teeth was actually the most popular answer. All right, our next question. Name the best place to study.
The library.
That is on our list, but not the most popular.
Okay, in your bed.
All right, I'm gonna have to give it to you because it was bedroom.
I've never even gone to the library.
I just stay in my bed and open up the books.
That's right, and that one shocked me. I was like, really? I'd be asleep. All right, the next one. Name a reason you might celebrate by throwing a party.
Ooh, that was a tough one. You can go first.
A birthday.
A birthday. That is on the list, but not the most popular.
A reason to celebrate a party? A wedding?
Well, I'm going to have to give it to you because that was the second one. The most popular was graduation.
Wow. I would not have guessed that.
Yeah,
one.
me either.
Wow.
All right, the next one is name some chores you might be forced to do.
Vacuuming. I hated vacuuming when I was little.
So that one is not even on our list.
Oh my gosh. No.
So
The dishes.
that one is actually the third one, so I'll give it to you. The number one was mow the lawn.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, most popular one. All right, next one. Name things that kids usually hate.
Vegetables.
I'm gonna give it to you. It's broccoli.
Broccoli.
Which ironically is the only vegetable my kids like.
Well, there you go.
All right, the next one. Name the top things you could do with your friends.
Hang out.
Hang out. Okay, not the most popular. I know.
Said it confidently too.
Get food.
Get food. Let's see. Hang out, get food. So they want things a little bit more specific. So maybe think of something more specific.
than hanging out and getting
What
food.
would you do hanging out?
I have no social
Talk?
life.
Talk?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, actually, it was play a game. What we're doing right now.
Oh, okay. I guess you do. That's like a good icebreaker
Yeah,
you do with
yeah.
somebody.
All right. Name things that kids do when they're young. Okay, which one buzzed in first?
Draw.
Draw, okay.
Cry.
Cry.
Oh, yeah, that's better.
So cry was actually third. The first one was take a nap.
Oh.
Yes.
At least we hope, right? They
Yeah.
take a nap.
Still my hope as an adult. Take a nap.
All right, the next one is name something that you might wake up in the middle of the night to.
I hope nothing. Something that you might wake up in the middle of the night to. Your dog wanting to go outside?
Okay.
Okay, it's actually not on the list.
Okay, fair.
A false home alarm? I don't know.
I will give it to you because it says a loud noise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
All right, and our last question is name something people like to hold on to.
Their wallet?
Their wallet.
That's a good one. I would not have even thought
That's
about
on the list. It's not our most popular.
Oh, their phone.
that. Oh, that's a good one. I was going
You
to say
should take that
sentimental item.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was their phone.
Oh, I should have gone with it.
So it's like, take it.
Thank you both so much for being a part of this. This was a lot of fun. Again, if you're at home and you have 20, 30 minutes you can put aside to spend time with your family, your friends, and just have some fun because laughter, as we all know, is some of the best medicine.
Now, join us for a cooking lesson with Bakersfield College Culinary Department.
I now have the great pleasure of introducing Chef Alex. Chef Alex is with the Bakersfield College Culinary Department, and he also runs the Renegade Room. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
So we're super excited because we're keeping in theme with our healthy living, and Chef Alex has agreed to show us a great healthy recipe.
Yeah. So today I chose to make cauliflower tacos. It's a very healthy rendition of normal like ground beef tacos. So we started off easily by cutting up our cauliflower into small, almost like cooked ground beef size. So that way you just cook it with your onions and some taco seasonings, and voila, you got this nice, beautiful taco filling. So we just fill it into our warm taco shells here. It's okay if a little falls over. It makes it beautiful. It's for aesthetics here. This is much more healthy than using ground beef because there's no cholesterol. We do put a little bit of cheese, so that makes it just a little bit, but hey, you gotta live a little bit.
Gotta have the cheese.
You gotta have a little bit. So we got these beautiful tacos with your cauliflower filling, and there's some green salsa here. You can use store-bought. There's a lot of different ingredients to these, and timing might not be favorable to you, but you can totally make the cauliflower filling, buy some guacamole, prep some salsa, and then cut some tomatoes and things, and you're gonna be eating dinner quickly. So add a little bit of this nice salsa verde in there for flavor. Add a little bit more. We got so many textures and flavors going on over here. Then we made a little bit of guacamole. Simple, it's just smashed guacamole or avocado with a little bit of salt, lemon juice, and make some good flavor. It gives you a little bit of healthy fat, some diced tomatoes, color, beautiful. Flavor again, and now we got the beautiful cotija cheese. You can use queso fresco or something. So we're just putting a little bit, but if you can see and smell this stuff, it's amazing. Okay, I like to finish off with some pickled onions. You can make these ahead of time, the day before, 2 days ahead, and it gives you this nice, bright, vibrant color, but like kind of acidic and sweetness that goes with this.
So let me ask you, how would you make the pickled onions?
Pickled onions, you just cut your onions up a little bit. You boil a little vinegar with water, sugar, and some spices of your choice, and then let it sit in the fridge overnight, and you're good.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So then we're gonna make a little bit of fresh, I love cilantro. Any kind of herbs when you're doing healthy cooking just gives you this flavor, this pop, and they're low calorie and healthy at the same time. So we put a little bit of fresh cilantro there, and then we can finish up with a little bit of fresh lime. I like to cut it here. So when you're eating it, you can just squeeze a little lime on there, and then you got this beautiful dish here. Serve it with some rice, some beans. Grilled zucchini is really nice with this. What do you think?
That sounds amazing. I think we were talking earlier, I love to make cauliflower tacos, and I in the past have never even thought about making it like this. That is great. And so if somebody wanted to make this, the taco seasoning, can they get store-bought? Can they make it themselves, the seasoning?
Totally. You can either make it yourself, which is really simple. You can put some chili powder, some cumin, salt, pepper, garlic, granulated garlic. We use onions when we saute the cauliflower in there, or you can just buy the little packets and just use that. It's so easy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're on a time crunch, I mean, this just took us a few minutes to put together, right? So this is something that you can prepare ahead of time, and when the kids are wanting their Taco Tuesday, there you go. There's a healthier idea for them, right?
Totally, and this is one of the dishes that my kids totally ask for all the time. They're like, Dad, can you make cauliflower tacos? I'm like, sure, let's do it. And if you have a little bit of planning ahead, it's really simple to put together.
So I heard that BC has some great things coming up. Will you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, to tag along with what we're talking about, this healthy cooking, we are building an edible garden at Bakersfield College, and we're making these non-credit courses that will teach you how to grow your healthy food, teach you how to cook it, and also why with the nutritional aspects of that.
That is amazing. Thank you. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, the courses are free to anybody in the community, so just look out for those. They're going to be, you just have to do a class search and they'll be up there.
So if you would like more information about those wonderful classes that are coming up, I invite you to go to the Bakersfield College website. And if you would like this recipe and some other healthy recipes, I invite you to visit our website at bakersfieldbehavioral.com. Thank you again, Chef Alex, for being with us today. This looks amazing, and we really appreciate everything you do.
Thank you for having me.
I am pleased to announce our next guest. Randy Beasley is a licensed marriage and family therapist and the director of our clinical services at Bakersfield Behavioral Healthcare Hospital. So this evening you're going to talk to us about healthy relationships and why they're so important, especially now. So where do we begin?
Yeah, I think we begin with just defining it, right? I'll do this exercise with students that I work with where we kind of just go through, hey, how do you guys define a relationship? What does that look like? And I usually get a list, right? And it's something with communication, trust, respect, shared activities, right? Reciprocity, things like that. And so I think it starts with just how do you think of it? How do you think of relationships? Let's start there.
So when it comes to dignity and respect in a relationship, what does that look like?
Yeah, I think that's actually really fundamental, and so it's essential for every relationship that you have. And we'll start with just what's the difference between these two? Because I think that they're very, very close to one another. I think dignity is really more about value. Right, and so the fact that we have worth, everyone has worth, I have dignity, and I take ownership of my dignity. I recognize the dignity in other people, that they are valuable. Respect is really kind of how do we live that out, right? And so I think respect really is about dignity walking. What does that look like if I'm going to reflect your value back to you? The big difference between these two is that dignity is philosophical in nature, and respect is cultural in nature. And with something that's cultural, it's learned. And so everybody has a different idea of what respect will look like. There is no universal definition of what respect is, and so in some cultures, looking people in the eye when you speak to them is respectful. In others, it's disrespectful, right? Some cultures bringing a gift for dinner is respectful, and others, it's disrespectful. And I think, part of this is really ensuring that we make this about value for the other person and their experience. And you can almost think of it like gift giving. My wife had a birthday a couple months ago. If I bought her a chainsaw for her birthday, that would not go over well, right? And we all, nobody knows that, we didn't tell anybody why, right? We all get it. And it doesn't matter if I'm a chainsaw enthusiast, and I'm trying to convince her this is, the best chainsaw of all time, and it's signed by the greatest lumberjack in North America. If she doesn't like it, then it's not a good gift. And respect functions similarly, if it's really not something that someone values or they feel like reflects their value, then it's not respect.
So now we have this graph that we're showing. So can you talk to us a little bit about this graph and how it relates to relationships?
Yeah, so this is the best model that I've come across thus far to help kind of understand and define relationships. The idea being, right, so we're going to take this back to 7th grade algebra, right? So we've got a line graph on the y-axis, we have shared experiences. On the x-axis, we have expectations or responsibility. So, kind of at the bottom, these 2 points meet, it is 0, right? So somebody you've had no experience with, and there's no expectations or responsibility to them or from them, those are strangers, right? We just say those people are strangers. I spend maybe an hour a week in face-to-face conversation with my boss, and it's always about work, right? And so kind of a minimal shared experience, and at the same time there's a ton of expectations on this relationship, to the point where if I don't do what I'm supposed to do, we literally call it terminating the relationship, right? At the same time, if they stop paying me, I'm not going to come to work, Right. So there is this very clear kind of expectation. My best friend is probably in the middle there somewhere. I've got my spouse all the way at the top, my parents, right? Every relationship ends up somewhere on this graph. When we talk about boundaries, this is really what we're talking about, How do we manage relationships? And we manage them by what experiences are we willing to share and do we pursue? And then what are the expectations that govern these relationships, and what do those look like? Because this is all fluid, right? And these things will change kind of over time, and as we evolve, and as circumstances, shift. And so this is something that understanding kind of where relationships are at and ensuring that everybody's on the same page is really important for just having a good relationship.
Thank you, Randy, so much for being a part of this evening. I know it was a lot of information in a small amount of time, so we really appreciate you. For more information about this topic, we invite you to visit our website at bakersfieldbehavioral.com.
Now we're going to check in with M.A.R.E.
I am Kimiko Kobayashi, and I am the Executive Director here at M.A.R.E Therapeutic Writing Center. We've been here for 32 years here in Bakersfield. M.A.R.E stands for Mastering Abilities Riding Equines, which is actually a acronym. So we specialize with children, adults, and veterans. We use horses for equine therapy, so that can mean a lot of different things. It can be physical, cognitive, veterans maybe with PTSD. So we use the horses both on the ground and also while they're riding for occupational therapy. The movement of the horse does something that triggers within the brain to help for healing, helps people who have trouble with walking, helps them walk again. Kids with autism have started speaking that were nonverbal before. So I don't know another word for it, but other than magical. So one of my favorite success stories was actually a program that we developed during COVID. We started a program called Camp Bliss through our Stable Forces program, which is our veterans program, where we invited about 6 or 7 female veterans that came in that experienced some extreme PTSD, and we did just a day of pampering and leadership and self-esteem building with our horses, where we brought the horses, a couple of the horses into the arena, we let them loose, and then we had those women go in a circle along with a counselor from the VA, and we just kind of had a support session. And as those women got emotional talking about their experiences, the horses would come and lay head on their shoulder, nuzzle them, and it was shocking to them. They're like, how did you train them to know to do this? And I didn't. They just know they can mirror emotions, they can feel those reactions. And so, when one woman was talking and she was able to kind of pet him and able to get through her thoughts and her process a little bit better, and then across the way, another woman started talking and started tearing up. And that horse walks over to be with her, So it was just the coolest thing. It gave us all goosebumps. And they said, it was probably one of the best days that they all had, was to just have that. And they just loved how the horses loved on them when they needed it. I definitely think the main health benefit being around horses is it's just good for you to be outside, to be with animals. There's something special about animals. This isn't new. Everybody knows that. Your dog, your cat, and the horses are special. They're unique. They're able to really do something about your own emotions that a lot of times I don't even think we recognize our own emotions. And for them to be able to kind of see in themselves maybe what they don't want to see, I think is really good. And it's the physical, just being on a horse, moving, like that is just so important for us. Just especially after the last 2 years where we were all inside, we didn't socialize. This allows you to come outside, to move, to talk, to just be affectionate with an animal without fear of anything happening, because we weren't even allowed to touch for so long. And I think that comfortability is just good for your mental health, it's good for your physical health. So if you wanted to get involved and participate with M.A.R.E, you would just go onto our website at MAREridingcenter.com. There's a couple of different buttons you can click. If you want to participate in lessons, you would click on our programs. You can also help by volunteering. Maybe you don't want to participate in the program, but you'd like to see some of these miracles happen. We need lots of volunteers, about 50 a week in order to operate this place. So you can sign up to volunteer, or you can donate if you want to give back and you don't quite have that time. It takes a lot of hay to feed these horses.
Now we're going to share a message from the Jason Foundation.
A Friend Asks is the Jason Foundation's free smartphone app that can provide you with the tools and resources to help a friend or yourself who may be dealing with thoughts of suicide. Within the app, there is Get Help Now. This can connect you with the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. Also, How to Help a Friend. This lists do's and don'ts, suggestions of things you can and shouldn't do if you feel a friend may be struggling. Also, warning signs. Warning signs are things a friend may display if they've been having thoughts of suicide. Also within this app are resources for help, ideas of people you can go to if you feel a friend may be in need, as well as information on local hospitals and information on the Jason Foundation. Download the app today and encourage your friends and family to do the same. Education is the key to prevention, and with information like this as close as your smartphone, you could help save a life.
Here's some exercise tips from Emily with Wisdom Yoga.
Welcome. Let's get started. Today I'm going to teach you one of my favorite mini flows called Sun Salutation A. All you need is a little bit of space and some time to connect to your mind and body. Let's start by taking a few grounding breaths. Listen for those inhales through the nose and exhales through the nose. When you're ready, take a big inhale. Reach for the sky, find a little back bend. Exhale, forward fold. Take your time here. Articulate the motion. Inhale, halfway lift. Look for a nice flat back here. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to high plank. Take an inhale at the top. Exhale, lower down. Flip your feet. Inhale, upward facing dog. So everything is lifted except for my toes, which are on the ground. Exhale, curl your toes under. Send those hips high for downward facing dog. Inhale, bend your knees, look to the top of your mat like you're ready to launch, and exhale, step forward. Inhale, find that nice flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Feel free to bend your knees as much as you need to. Big inhale, rise all the way up, reach for the sky. Exhale, hands to heart center. You've just done your first Sun A. Congratulations. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope to see you in class soon. Stay healthy.
I am absolutely pleased to be joined by a panel of amazing physicians this evening. Doctors, thank you all so much for being willing to be a part of this evening.
Oh, you're welcome.
You're welcome.
So first, I thought we would start with introductions. So Dr. Ma, if you would introduce yourself, tell us where you work, your area of expertise, how long you've been in the field, you know, all those types of things.
So my name is Albert Ma. I'm a board-certified adult and child psychiatrist. Currently, I have a private practice in Bakersfield, M.A.R.E Psychiatric Medical Group, and also I'm the medical director for Bakersfield Behavioral Healthcare Hospital for about the last 10 years. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, I teach at the brand new Child Psychiatry Fellowship Program in Kauai Delta.
That's wonderful.
Hi, I'm Dr. Banerjee. I'm a cardiologist practicing in Bakersfield community for the last 20 years, more than that now. And we take care of the heart. That's what we do. I work with an excellent group of cardiologists at Comprehensive Cardiovascular Medical Group. And I also get involved with teaching medical students and residents in the community.
Wonderful.
Well, I'm Dr. Gerard Iru Fernando. I'm a medical director over at Aspire Behavioral Health, and I also work over at Psychiatric Wellness Center with a great group of different providers. We do a lot of work with addiction, child psychiatry, and general psychiatry as well.
And my first question for everybody, and we'll just kind of take it one at a time, is what do you think has been the biggest change that you've observed in the last year in your prospective field?
So for me, the biggest change is with the pandemic. There's significant increase in mental illness for both adult and children. And what is most shocking is how much the mental health for adolescents has deteriorated. And some people say the suicide rates alone has gone up 30 to 40% among adolescents. And I have seen kids younger and younger attempting suicide. In the past 5 years ago, I really don't see any 10, 12-year-old coming to the hospital for suicide attempt. But now we're starting to seeing them. So we are facing a pretty significant inpatient mental health crisis.
Absolutely. Dr. Banerjee?
For our practice, of course, we do cardiology. What we have seen, mainly this pandemic related, one is a lot of people are so scared that they might get the disease, they not following up, not coming to the doctor's office or even to the emergency room when they don't feel well. And that has delayed diagnosis and treatment for our patients. And the other thing we see is the anxiety. The amount of anxiety that had created by this pandemic has created this problem, patients coming to us, young patients with symptoms, palpitation, shortness of breath, and that is also something we have been seeing more for the last year.
Dr. Fernando.
So what I've definitely noticed, and I have to echo what the two doctors here said as well, is that we've seen a dramatic increase when it comes to depression, anxiety, but also a lot of substances as well. I think one interesting fact is that about alcohol sales rose by 54% during the first week of the pandemic. Unfortunately, we've hit another huge milestone in our country right now, and that's 100,000 people have died from opioid overdoses. This is the highest that we've ever had. So right now, a lot of people in the country are struggling, that's for sure.
Absolutely, and I think all three of you touched on what was going to be my next question, and that was if you have seen an increase or decrease throughout the pandemic, which clearly you all have. And you've all also touched on the fact of what that looks like and why there was that increase. So when it comes to that, what kind of advice would you give parents that are trying to create a healthier lifestyle for themselves and for their families as it pertains specifically to your fields?
Well, for me, I would like to think you cannot be healthy by doing one thing. So I would say you probably have to take care of your mind, your body, and your soul. So to take care of your mind, of course, if you have any kind of depression, anxiety, the first thing you need to use is your community resources. Use your family, and use the teachers, and use the church. And in terms of your body, I think I just heard a presentation by a UCLA professor. So during the pandemic, the average American gained 20 pounds. That is very scary in terms of physical health. So taking care of your physical health and not spend so much time on social media, not spend so much time at home, start to go outside, exercise, and see other people. That's both important for physical health and mental health. And at the same time, I think one thing people get away from is their normal coping skills. So people tend to have hobbies and things they do to keep their mind healthy. For example, people who used to play sports, especially kids, because of pandemic, they become inactive. Kids who used to play in bands, and they don't have the opportunity to do that anymore. And so for people who had healthy coping skill and hobby before, they need to do that for their soul. And of course, finally, I think one thing people has got sucked into during the pandemic is the social media and the negativity. So if you spend all your time at home watching TV about the bad things happening in the world, it's being sensationalized, and the bad things happening in this country. But that's not how the world is. I think going out, volunteer, help other people, go to church, meditate, do yoga, do Tai Chi, all those things will be very helpful.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, I agree with Dr. Ma. And you know, we jokingly call it the 20-pound gain is the COVID weight gain. And this is unfortunate because that is a big change in their health, especially cardiovascular health, which I do. So my suggestions or recommendations to parents, parents are obviously very, very worried about their children, taking care of them, is, home cooked meals are probably the best option for kids. I know we're a busy life, everybody's running around, but if you can, home cooked meals would be the best option, much healthier than outside food. Eating together makes a big difference of family communication. And then exercise, if you go tell your adolescent kid, go exercise, nothing is happening. So get involved. If you do like hiking together, or you go as a family, go like with your bike together, that is much more constructive that you'll get them out. Playing in sports, those are all closed for the last 2 years now. So getting back to their sports in school, that will also make a big difference to their mental and physical health. They'll be back at what they're used to doing, what they like doing. And of course, the mental health part. Again, from the parents' perspective, it is very, very important that we stay involved in our children's life, especially the high schools. We know they feel like, oh, they're old enough, they can take care of themselves. That's not true. You have to be involved. Just asking, hey, how are you doing? All right? They're not going to tell you anything. You're staying involved so that you find out if they're having trouble in school, if they're having, mental problems, or just the anxiety and the stress of not having their routine. Getting involved and then getting help. That would be my suggestions and recommendations to them.
Absolutely. And Dr. Fernando?
Yeah, I again have to echo both of them. You took pretty much all the explanations that I had, but I definitely want to go back to talking about cutting off the screen time. I think that is extremely important. Something's changed in our culture. Within the last 20 years, we weren't addicted to our screens like we used to be, right? And so we can definitely see, there's been a rise in mental health issues way before the pandemic as well, right? So something is happening to our society that we have to take a pause and really reevaluate what it is to be a human being, what it is to have a soul. And I completely agree, you have to go into nature. Gardening is a great idea, I think. Cooking, I think, is an amazing thing to do, especially if you do it with your family. Just things to do with your community again and reconnecting with individuals. I think that's more important than anything right now.
So I think as a closing statement, I'm just going to ask each of you, what is your favorite thing to do to stay healthy?
Well, my personal favorite thing to do is my hobby. So I have a personal obsession with photography. So I would wake up 5 in the morning before the hospital rounds and go take photos of birds, sunrise. So it's both mind, body, and soul for me.
Awesome.
For me, I do exercise. I tell all my patients to exercise too. I do exercise regularly and watching the diet and eating as well as I can. The other thing I have done for myself is actually cut down significantly on listening to constant news, which I think has significantly helped reduce my anxiety level. This constant news just bothers you a lot. So I have done that, and I think it has helped me.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I think that cutting down the news is absolutely a really great thing to do, something that I've also done myself with good benefits for myself. But I just love the simple things in life. I love music, so just listening to my favorite artists, sharing them with my friends and talking to them about it. But I love food, and so I love gardening. I just created my new garden for this year. So we got a bunch of tomatoes, peppers, onions, and I just love cooking as well. So, when you're making things from the things that you grew and then you make a great dish out of it, there's nothing more that's satisfying to me. So I absolutely love doing that. It's been great for my mental health.
That's amazing. Well, I would just like to thank you all again so much for being a part of this evening's event. You all had so much wonderful advice to give us and to give our community, and I can't thank you enough for everything that you do.
No, thank you for having us here.
Absolutely, thank you.
Now we're going to share a message from our mayor, Karen Go.
Hello, this is Mayor Karen Go. I'm pleased to join the Bakersfield Behavioral Healthcare Hospital for Healthy Living 2022. Bakersfield has proven to be a strong, unified community that has demonstrated time and time again its ability to aid, educate, and provide resources to those in need. I've witnessed agencies both large and small come together to help our community in any way possible. Healthcare leaders, including Bakersfield Behavioral Healthcare Hospital, have stepped up, spoken out, and advocated for overall health with an emphasis on one's mental health. They understand that we must practice self-care and that we do this by promoting healthy mental health practices, which include all that's been discussed in this evening's program. Mental health continues to be highly stigmatized in our society, and although we're getting better discussing in what some may consider to be sensitive topics, there is still more we can do to push this conversation forward. It is important that we start having conversations with our loved ones about their mental health, encouraging them to seek out help when it's needed. In order to live our best lives, however that looks to you, we must admit when we need help, empower one another to ask for help, encourage open and honest conversations, educate ourselves more about mental health and addiction, and normalize the utilization of hospitals. In light of this evening's guests and the wealth of knowledge they shared with all of you, I would like to proclaim May 22 as Self-Care Day in our city. A big thank you to the Bakersfield Behavioral Healthcare Hospital for spearheading this event. I encourage our residents to be mindful of their health and that of their families. Utilize our wide array of resources here in Kern County, and in all that you do, care.
I would like to take this moment to thank all of our local agencies that partnered with Bakersfield Behavioral Healthcare Hospital to help make this evening's event. We understand that it takes a strong community of individuals who are invested in the well-being and health of one another in order to make a difference. I invite you to visit our YouTube channel, where we will have tonight's televised event posted if you would like to rewatch it or share it with loved ones. We hope that this evening has taught or reminded you ways to get, keep, and stay healthy in 2022. Please remember, it's important to ask for help when it's needed, to help others when it's possible, and above all else, show yourself and others care.